Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see both ministers participating. I'm sure you have a lot on your plate these days. Thanks for participating. Today, I thought what I would do, it's a bit of a lofty task given the Twitter feeds I saw over the weekend, but hopefully try to articulate what the oil and gas industry means relative to our future. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are today, maybe a look in the rearview mirror as to where we've come from, some of the playbooks we used in the past to help our industry when we are in need, what we actually need today to keep things moving, and then I'd like to build a bridge to the energy transition and our low carbon future. So let me start by saying, first of all, in terms of the oil and gas industry in Newfoundland, certainly, if you looked at all the tweets and the impact it has had on our province, it really has been transformative. Since the closure of the cod fishery in 1992, it has been our go-to industry. I'm not going to get into economics of oil and gas 101 for Newfoundland, but I think to highlight a few things, in 2003, the industry accounted for 36% of the province's GDP, and it remained at 23%. In 2017, employment sustained 23,000 jobs in Newfoundland and 10,000 jobs in the rest of Canada. We did get our arms around investment in geoscience, which was very strategic, showing great product prospectivity. And we invested in Advanced 2030 with a strong ambition for growth, 100 exploration wells, $37 billion in capital expenditures. And of course, the spin-off effects of our industry are significant, not just in Newfoundland, but across Canada. We've got a fertile community for conducting R&D. We certainly have a relentless commitment to safe and reliable operations. So we've done our homework and we understand the potential. But today, we are in unprecedented times and we are in uncharted territory. While we face these uncertain times, I think it's important to recognize, though, that we are as relevant and resilient and untapped as ever. However, if we are going to respond to COVID-19 and a low oil price environment, we have to determine our ability to realize our potential. No other industry can or is going to be able to replace Newfoundland's oil and gas industry at the same level of contribution and also be an economic driver for the overall Canadian economy. What's important to recognize, we had this downturn in 2014 and 2015. We had a 70% drop in oil price, which forced major cost reductions, squeezed margins, but the industry embraced principles of standardization, simplification, industrialization, and was able to lower the break-even for frontier projects. For example, in Norway, below $40 a barrel. At the local level, we took the pain. Our supply chain did not escape. We did our fair share to effect cost reductions. And now, with the latest oil price shock, further price reductions, I would argue, are not possible and certainly won't be enough. We're on the cusp of a new wave of exploration, which is critical to our future. But notwithstanding Hebron, overall production is declining. Except for Beta Nord, we have not been able to find new discoveries because we haven't explored. The few development opportunities we have been deferred. We've got a long list of SDLs, significant discovery licenses, that have been dormant for a long time. And there are stranded resources, marginal fields, that hold potential for subsea tiebacks. And we have a proven and robust offshore regulatory regime. But there are opportunities to streamline process and reduce cycle time. So what can we do? Well, we must focus on immediate employment and the type of immediate employment that can generate maximum spin-off and added value. How are we going to do that? Drilling programs are our lifeline. If you don't play, you can't win. In 2019 alone, 57 exploratory wells were spudded in Norway and 17 discoveries were made on the Norwegian continental shelf. By contrast, 70% of Newfoundland's exploration wells were drilled prior to 1998 and less than 3 wells per year since that period of time. But rigs have been secured. Exploration drilling has started and it must continue. The negative consequences of losing a rig to another jurisdiction or a cold stack for the next 2 years will be far-reaching. Development projects must continue. Beta Nord, the Husky wellhead platform, subsea tieback opportunities in marginal fields. Take a close look at Beta Nord, a new basin with high-quality light oil. That can be part of our low-carbon future. But what's at risk? 10.9 billion in life of field costs, 22.3 million hours of work in the province, investment in R&D and innovation, and strengthening our local supply chain. Thirdly, current production must continue, and we need to find ways to accelerate life extensions and extend our production profile in getting access to marginal fields. Now, said all that, the energy transition, make no mistake, to a low carbon future and renewables is upon us. During last week's announcement on a series of measures to support the oil and gas industry, the Prime Minister stated, and I quote, "Just because we're in a health crisis doesn't mean we can neglect the environmental crisis," unquote. I would absolutely agree with that statement and go even further to say that now more than ever, Newfoundland's offshore oil and gas industry can help shape Canada's overall energy policy domestically and internationally. There is no better time that we leverage joint management of our oil and gas resources to transition to a low carbon future with renewable energy sources and non-renewable. We have a great story to tell to the international community. Newfoundland has what the world needs now more than ever. We have large reservoirs at scale, we have high quality crude oil with low carbon intensity emissions compared to the global average. We have a tidewater that provides unfettered access to world markets. We have large scale wind and hydropower, not only for export, but also the ability to electrify our offshore developments to further reduce CO2 emissions. We have the technology to pursue carbon capture on existing and new offshore facilities, to capture emissions from gas turbines, which account for approximately 85% of CO2 emissions. We hold ourselves to the highest standards of safety and environmental responsibility in the world. Mr. Reagan, I know you have a lot on your plate, and I believe we're here to help you. Newfoundland is in a unique position to help with this energy transition through a comprehensive energy policy, pursuing sustainable solutions that includes low carbon and renewable energy are not mutually exclusive, no different than Canadians continuing to enjoy the economic benefits of our oil and gas industry and a greener future. Given the frequency of these oil price shocks, however, there may also be an argument for some level of energy self-sufficiency in North America, and that would further Newfoundland's contribution in a low carbon future. So let me just try to sum up. We need to generate immediate and meaningful employment with maximum ripple effect and added value in the Newfoundland economy. Accelerate exploration through fiscal stimulus. We've done it before. We can do it again. Super depletion and PIP in the 1977 to 1986 period. We need to get development projects moving. Beta Nord, subsea developments, including marginal fields through subsea tiebacks. We need to pursue standardization, simplification, wherever possible to reduce cost, improve productivity without any compromise to HSSE. We need to sustain and increase opportunities for our local supply chain, liquidity, enhance local participation in new greenfield projects, streamline tender processes. We need to streamline regulation and reduce cycle time. FORI and REA are great examples, and thank you for both levels of government for moving these forward. But they've been slow to implement, and we're still not there. So the final point, I tweeted on Saturday, and I remember the occasion so well. In 1988, both levels of government navigated a minefield of economic and social challenges, including many naysayers. But they put Hibernia on their backs, and they made an historic deal that launched a new industry for Newfoundland and Canada. It was bold, it was visionary, and it was transformative. Newfoundland and indeed Canada seized upon that opportunity and never looked back. But some of you may also remember that just 2 short years from Hibernia's sanction, Gulf Canada pulled out of Hibernia. There was a slowdown, a year delay, a lot of uncertainty. But again, to the credit of the federal government, in 1993, they came to the rescue, taking an 8.5% equity stake in Hibernia for $290 million. Since then, it's been a great investment. Hibernia has returned over $2.2 billion in dividends to the federal government and created employment both in Newfoundland and in the rest of Canada. Make no mistake, these are unprecedented events of today, but it makes this our 1988. Our story is far from over, and it is more relevant than ever, but we cannot do it alone. Thank you for your time.